Hi, my name is Anna Leavey. I'm a school healthcare provider at Charlotte Central School in the town of Charlotte, Vermont. Charlotte is located approximately 13 miles south of Burlington, Vermont, which is the largest city in the state. It has a population of about 3,500. The median income is about $80,000 a year per individual, and average home prices are in excess of $500,000. Charlotte Central School has a student population of about 410 students. These kids range in age from preschool through 8th grade. And today, we're going to be discussing an issue which has been raised by the community in the town of Charlotte that we are facing at the school. It relates to disordered eating behaviors. It's one of the primary concerns currently in this country, and in Vermont in particular, the concern is shared equally between the issue of overeating and the issue of restricting food intake. Children in particular are often unidentified as having issues with food. It's a very sensitive issue to raise, both for parents to raise with students or with children, and also for primary care providers who often are unaware of how to manage disordered eating and therefore have a tendency to shy away from identifying or diagnosing eating disorders. It can be very difficult for parents to identify disordered eating behaviors. It's very hard to see the problem sometimes right before your eyes. And in addition, these behaviors are very difficult to treat. So, it's our intention through this policy change at Charlotte Central School to locally begin to identify and acknowledge an issue in the school, in particular with eating disorders, and to offer a way of beginning to manage or treat those behaviors. At Charlotte Central School, it's important to know that approximately 12% of our student population receives a free or reduced lunch. Subsidized food at school includes a breakfast, a morning snack, a lunch, and an afternoon snack. This is relevant because we know that food security is really not an issue in the town of Charlotte, Vermont, at least for students who attend school at Charlotte Central School. This is important because we are concerned about disordered eating behaviors, and we want to make sure that students do have access to all the calories in the food that they need in a day. And we are confident, we can say with relative confidence, that all students do have this opportunity in Charlotte. What the issue at hand is that through data collected in physical education classes over the past decade, the students, in particular adolescent girls in the middle school grades, have been identified as having a body mass index of approximately 20% less than that of their age group, female age group, at the other schools across the district. So several hundred girls, the female population at Charlotte Central School has a significantly lower body mass index. This issue has been raised at the district level and has been identified and acknowledged by parents, by board members, and by the community at large. It is, in fact, an area that the community and the school would like to address. Eating disorders are syndromes that are characterized by severe disturbances in eating behavior that are accompanied by distress or excessive concern about body shape, weight. And though the presentation of disordered eating varies, we do know that it's often accompanied by medical or by psychiatric comorbidities, and these are very, very challenging to address. The denial of symptoms or reluctance to treat these can make a diagnosis extremely challenging, and in turn can make treatment very difficult. We do know that since food security is not an issue at Charlotte Central School, or generally not an issue, and we are aware that students are, for the most part, very well educated about nutrition, about exercise, the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, both through curriculum at school and because this is a highly educated community. Those are areas that we do not need to address in this policy change. We are going to operate from the assumption that those are areas that are well covered for these young people. We do know through the Youth Risk Behavior Survey that the number of young people in the state of Vermont who perceive themselves as overweight is approximately 30%, whereas the national average is about 27%. In addition, the young people in Vermont who vomited or took laxatives in order to lose weight specifically also exceeds the national average in Vermont. And finally, the Kids Eating Disorders Survey, which is a survey that has been administered nationally and is directed specifically at the middle school age group, which is the group that we're addressing today. More than 40% of respondents in that age group wanted to lose weight and felt they looked fat to others. Almost a third had dieted. Currently, many eating disorders are treated through cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal psychotherapy, or through medication such as antidepressants. However, it's very clear that only about half the clients who experience these treatments or interventions have any result or effect, and that these effects are not sustained. Therefore, it's our intention at Charlotte Central School to begin to address this disordered eating that we know exists in our school community. And we would like to do so at the school level by addressing body mass index. We are aware that this is a challenging thing to do and that it will require the support of administration, the school board, and community members, as well as parents and students. A return to the body mass index, which was the initial indicator that the need for change existed. A BMI screening is going to help us to identify the children who restrict their food intake and who also those who overeat or make poor food choices. We will not address the issue for students who fall within the normal range. Of course, BMI will be measured in a confidential and private setting, most likely in the health office, and on an individual basis so that the information will not be shared with peers, and so students will not be subjected to addressing it with one another. Over the course of the school year, we will screen and identify students who are at risk through this confidential screening. We'll use an evidence-based tool to ensure that we're using accurate body mass indices. And we will contact families so that they can become involved if concerns arise upon screening. Once we have gathered the information, education will be offered to families. Curriculum will address the larger issues, the impact that disordered eating can have both in the overeating and restricting on student lives, health and well-being. But in particular, the BMI screening is going to offer us the opportunity to connect with families in a way that we do over many issues at school. However, this one has been left unaddressed because of its very sensitive nature. We're hopeful that through this policy change and the reinstitution of the body mass index screening, we will be able to identify the students who need help, to reach out to their families, offer them education and support in seeking treatment and help in order to address the issues with their primary care provider, with a psychiatric or mental health provider, and hopefully we will be able to support those efforts through the school health office and ensure that students who have been identified have follow-up and really have a sense of a medical home at the school with regard to their disordered eating behavior.